fear of what comes after. Hold on for better days. Let her past begin to shatter. Days like these, we can see the way to live
What
our
inspired me to start Fierce Roots Farm Sanctuary? I've always had a very deep connection to animals ever since I was a little girl. I was always very drawn to them, and I knew from a very young age I wanted to do something with my life that helped them. I got involved kind of in the horse world very young, and also got involved the second I could have a legal job. I was working at a vet office as a kennel attendant, like caring for dogs and cats. So there were kind of like these two parallel experiences running in my life, with being with horses and also being in the vet field. It was really when the pandemic happened that I kind of had this realization that life is too short. I need to, get past my own fears and barriers that I was creating for myself. So we had bought our property that the sanctuary is on now, and had started just kind of planning for a barn, because I've had Chino, who is kind of our guiding light. He's been in my life for almost 20 years now. So to bring him home finally, which was something I had been working on for a long time, and that kind of all came together, and I was like, it's time to create this space for animals and for compassionate and kind people who want to learn and advocate to help them, and this is the time. The name Fierce Roots, it has a lot of intentional meaning behind it. It's very twofold. I think the word roots really represents something that you have to really plant the seeds, nurture. It represents a lot of connection, and I think animals and people are inherently very connected, and I think we're supposed to be connected. Also, we're just very tied and appreciative of the land. That's a big part in the environment. That's also a big part of the sanctuary, so it represented that as well. And then the word fierce, like, I've always thought of the saying, love you something fierce. It's just, I think sometimes the word can almost have like a strong connotation, but I kind of liked that because I wanted to reclaim that and say, no, you know what? Fierce can also mean you're really passionate about something. It's so deeply rooted in what you believe. I've had Chino in my life for 20 years, so he was definitely like an inspiration, and he was a rescue from, he was an off-the-track thoroughbred, so from the racing industry. But the first, I would say, rescues that really kind of started the sanctuary were the donkeys. So Poppy and Olive, they are a mother-daughter pair. Olive was originally rescued from a kill pen out in Texas. They both, they needed a home, an experienced home that could help Olive with her trauma, and Poppy kind of gain her confidence, and then also just like with the appropriate environment. There's endless challenges that animals face before they arrive here, and a lot of it depends on the type of animal, but overarching, they all typically face that they're just considered less than, especially farmed animals, or even donkeys aren't considered farmed animals, but they are considered like work animals kind of. And I would just say, like, so many of them are just seen as a number, seen as a tool, and they're just kind of like put through this system. A lot of them are just facing that adversity where they have been failed by humans and failed by a system of oppression. Olive took a lot of time. She needed a lot of space. She needed to know that her boundaries were going to be respected in order to let that guard down, to trust. Whereas Lumi, our goat that we rescued last year, who likely came from a very traumatic, she was found abandoned on the side of a road not far from a livestock auction. You know, she was completely different. She was like, hey, I want attention. I want this. So, you know, that was, we were starting out at a completely different point with her than we started off with Olive. So I think it's just a lot of really meeting them where they're at and respecting that process and making sure that you're honoring what it is that they need in that process. When Olive came, she was just so distrustful of humans. Like, they gave me like vet records that said they had to double tie them around a tree to even like sedate them, and they were just like not able to be handled. The day that we went to pick them up, you know, it was very much like, obviously she was scared. She didn't know what was happening. She had been a million different places at that point. And, you know, the natural, you know, we're trying to get her on the trailer, and everyone's like, okay, let's come up behind her with some panels to like corral her and let's do this. And I think it was like a really big transformational for me, and it kind of set the trajectory for how I am with all the animals at the sanctuary. It was a moment where I just kind of looked at everyone who was around, like even these people who had been working in rescue for years, and I said, can everyone please just step back? Everyone please leave us be. Let me just get on her level and talk to her. So I did. I knelt down on the ramp of this trailer and I said to Olive, I said, you know, you don't really know me. You know, I know that you don't trust humans, and I understand that. I know that you don't trust humans right now, and you shouldn't. Like, humans have failed you, but all I can tell you is that, like, if you take the chance of trusting me right now, and you come on this trailer, I promise I will always listen to you, and I won't fail you. And she walked on the trailer. She got home, and it probably was like a good 5 or 6 months before she really was able to decompress, and like she was just in guardian and protection mode for her and her baby for so long. And I'll never forget the first time. Donkeys do zoomies. Olive, it took her about 6 months to finally like do a zoomie, and I will never forget the first time I saw her do that. I just like kicking up her heels with her daughter, like knowing that she felt safe. And like since then, her and I, like, she trusts me. Like if there's something that we need to get done, I get down on her level, I talk to her, and she would follow me to the ends of the earth now. And it's just like, you know, she just needed someone to give her the space to respect her boundaries and to let her know that she was safe. They completely changed my entire world. Like, they are literally the most incredible beings. They've taught me so much, and they really set the course for taking a strong stance on cooperative care and how we care for the animals and how we want to educate other people on how to care for animals, and that it's really supposed to be a partnership. Cooperative care is like one of the big foundational parts of our mission. So cooperative care is meaning that the animal is having is an active participant in their care, and that we are cultivating a partnership with them. So the care is not just happening to them, they're being active participants in it. When it comes to the environment, I think they're just like animals are connected to us, they're also very connected to the land and to the environment. There's not really a lot of forward thinking about the impacts that they will have on the land. And, you know, especially hoofed animals, especially large animals, they have a drastic impact on the soil, on all types of things, you know, their waste, their manure, all that kind of stuff. And I just, you know, we believe that if you don't put intentionality and thought in how to manage the land first before you consider having animals live on the land, then it's not going to be sustainable, and you're going to run into issues. And also too, like, the land was here first. Like, it needs to be honored. And when you do honor the land, like, you just, there's like this, and a lot of people who come describe this, there's just like this harmony here with the animals, just with the way it's set up. I think education is such an important part of it, because I think that there have been a lot of traditional mindsets on how certain animals are just perceived, on how to work, you know, there's lots of parts on how they're perceived, on how to work with them, and in the way that they live their lives. I've even had like so many people reach out when I share videos of the chickens on my lap and stuff, saying like, wow, I didn't know chickens were, you know, had personality like that. There's a very large disconnect between, especially farmed animals or animals that are used in production of any kind, and the general public's perception of how they are. I've been working with lots of different animals for many years now. Chickens, pigs, goats, they are no different than your dog or cat in terms of their intelligence, in terms of the fact that they are sentient, the fact that they develop deep bonds and relationships with their family members and the, you know, just their friends and their family groups that they have. I never had that safe space to care for animals in the way, and just develop partnership and relationship with animals my entire life. I was always trying to fit into spaces that didn't feel genuine and authentic, because it didn't feel like there was a space for someone who wanted to be kind and compassionate and soft. Like, your softness is not a weakness, it is a strength. It might seem like a weakness to humans, but it's not to animals. It's actually like your vulnerability is really, really appreciated by them. So like, creating that space and that community and showing people that that is possible, and a possible like way to build relationship with animals, I think is just really important. And people can get involved, especially if you're not local. Definitely signing up for the email list, because that's something that we're transitioning to have more focus on, and hopefully to share more resources via like long form blogs through our website. That's a goal for this year to develop, and just like for more consistent like checking in on what's going on with us. And then yeah, Patreon is big for us. We have all different types of levels, as low as $1, which does really make a big impact for us. And Patreon is really a space where if there's anything that is going on with the animals, Patreon knows about it first. They have the most detailed information. They're kept up to date. They're seeing a lot of behind the scenes. We are always looking for help with like creating digital content. You know, if you are someone who is well versed in fundraising, like there are other ways that you can volunteer other than just, you know, physically at the sanctuary. And then yeah, just if you are on social media, I would say at this point we're most active on Instagram. Just putting us on your favorites, liking the posts you see, sharing them, like interacting with them in any way that you feel comfortable, just helps to kind of like boost our content to followers and helps more people see us. It's hard not to take in all the suffering and the hardships of the world. You know, when you work in a sanctuary space, you can't just close your eyes to all the suffering in the world. Like you know, we channel that into the animals that we have here, and we channel that into moving forward and to keep going and to keep showing up, even if it takes time, and to like keep being a safe space for people who need it and for animals who need it. Right now, especially with the state of the world, community is more important than ever. We need safe community. We need to have lights, be a light in the darkness, and like the work is just starting.
Break away, forget our fear of what comes after.